Last time we were together, we were working on some problems that you guys were doing absolutely magnificent with. So let's see if we remember the steps. I'm on page 33 in my notes. Page 33.
You got it.
And we're ready to do cosecant pi over 4. All right? Now, cosecant pi over 4. Who remembers? Anybody remember any of this? So first thing we did was change our radian measure into degrees. And we did that by remembering that pi is 180. And 180 divided by 4 is 45. So we're finding the cosecant of 45 degrees. Okay? All right, now what do we do? What do we do next? Once we have cosecant 45, what do we do next? We draw a picture. And when we draw our picture, boys and girls, it looks like this. That's what it looks like. Don't draw any other picture. And then, right here, where my finger is, 45 degrees. Right? And then I recognize that, wait a minute, if that's 45 and that's 90, then this one's also 45? And this is one of my special triangles. What are the sides of a 45, 45, 90? Hypotenuse is square root of 2. 1, 1, square root of 2. And somebody asked me the other day, how do you know that? You memorize it. It's on your orange sheet, right? Mm-hmm. That's got to be memorized. Now, this is your angle. Always this is the one you look at. We got other ones labeled, but this is the one we look at. Okay, so Natalie, absolutely. This is so cool.
That's exactly what we want. Okay. Is you doing what you do best, Mrs. Ford?
Standing up here and talking.
Yes, exactly. Engaging with your students.
Are we engaged?
Them be successful and freestyle.
Okay, he's got a camera. We're going to be engaged, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Lock in. Lock in.
Wait.
Okay. So, with regard to that angle right there, guys, let's pay attention. I know this is interesting, but we have to pay attention. That angle right there determines what's opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse, right? Mm-hmm. So, this one will be opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Now, I need the cosecant. All right, so what do I know about cosecant? Look at your orange sheet if you forgot. What do you know about cosecant? It is the reciprocal of the sine. Now, if sine is opposite over hypotenuse, then cosecant will be hypotenuse over opposite. Very good. So looking at my picture, I want the cosecant, hypotenuse over opposite. The answer to the question is? Radical 2 over 1, or we might just write radical 2. Okay, that was pretty easy. One more. Cosine pi over 3. Step 1, who remembers? Change my angle into degrees. And how do I do that? I remember pi radians is 180. So this is going to be the cosine of 60. Perfect. So I'll draw my picture again, and remember, our picture always looks like that. And this angle right here is that angle, so we're gonna put 60 right there. Which means that one is 30. Good. Now we gotta label our sides. So what do we remember about 30, 60, 90s? Okay, so what's across from the 30? 1. Across from the 60? 3. And the hypotenuse is 2. And again, that is always the case, right? Cosine, this is an easy one. What's cosine?
Adjacent over
Adjacent over hypotenuse. So, oh, I didn't label my sides. Which one's adjacent? The 1. And of course, this is the hypotenuse. So the answer to the problem is 1/2. All right, are we feeling okay about those? All right, get your calculators out. Now we're going to do a little work on the calculator. So what we just did is find the exact values. So this is the exact value of the cosine. When you find it by hand, and sometimes, I just erased it, but sometimes your answers have radicals in them, those are exact answers. As soon as I type it in on my calculator, I'm gonna get decimals that I'm gonna round off, right? Those are not exact answers, but sometimes you don't have a choice. So, before we start, I want you to look at those, what are the 10 problems in number 4?
Yep.
Notice that some of them are degrees and some of them are radians. Now that's gonna make a difference on my calculator. I'm gonna have to tell my calculator, okay, I'm gonna put in a degree or I'm gonna put in a radian, all right? So before we start, let's look through those 10 problems. Which ones are degrees? A is a degree. B is not a degree. How do I know B is not a degree? It doesn't have a degree mark, right? So A is a degree. What else? C, E, F, I, and J. All right, so those are the problems we're going to do first. We're going to do those problems first. So I'm going to go to my calculator. You guys better read it. I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to press mode. And I'm going to make sure degree is highlighted, because I am doing the degree problems first. I'm going to do all the degree problems in degree mode. Everybody got it? All right, so now I'm ready to do problem number 1. Secant 10 degrees. If I had a secant button, life would be perfect. I don't have a secant button. You don't have one on your calculator either. So what do I know about secant? It's the reciprocal of the cosine. Good. It's the reciprocal of cosine. Remember our orange sheet? We gotta memorize those things, right? So we gotta know secant is reciprocal of cosine. So what I'm going to type in on my calculator is literally 1 divided by cosine 10. So everybody do that with me. 1 divided by cosine 10. And the directions don't tell me how to round it off, so let's round it off to the 10,000. So 4 decimal places, did you get 1.0154?
Yep.
Perfect. How do we type secant 10 on my calculator? 1 divided by cosine. Okay. What was the next one we said? C. All right, so now we're doing tangent 2811. Do I have a tangent button? Yep, so that's good. So now I got to remember how to put in 28 degrees 11 minutes. So tangent 28. Who remembers where the degree mark is? Second angle degrees. Good. Daniel, where's your calculator? 11 second angle minutes, and we get 0.5358.
Yep.
Is that all right with everyone?
Oh, so you gotta hit two.
It says
No,
seconds.
no.
What's the matter?
So you go.
So after the degree, do we close the parentheses?
No.
Do you put 11?
No. Close parentheses. Till you're all done putting in the angle.
0.5.
What, the degree?
What'd you get for it?
So what we need to do is, we need to make sure, if we're not getting these numbers, who's not getting these numbers? Everybody's getting these numbers? Jarvis, you getting it figured out?
Jars?
Alright.
And then to get the one with the two, alpha, and then down to the plus sign.
We're not really.
Okay, so you know how you get a number, right? You know how you get a number, right? You gotta change it to
Okay.
That's how you change it to this? That's how you change it to this? Yeah, they give you like a single number.
Okay, what's the next one? E?
I'll show you.
Alright, let's take a look at E and see what's happening there.
Like these joints?
Can anybody explain to me how we're gonna do E, because we do not have a cotangent button on our calculator? How are we gonna do that? Russ? Bingo, guys. Will, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
We know that cotangent is 1 over tangent. So we're gonna type 1 over tangent 1319. Alright, so everybody try this, Jarius, try this, see if you get what you're supposed to get here.
If you don't have it, somebody paid a band for a calculator.
Oh my god.
That's what I got. How about you?
Oh, 4.2.
Anybody else get that?
I got 4.2.
We got that.
Lisa gets a burger?
I got 4.224.
I got 225.
50 cent, then.
Yeah, that's right.
50 cent.
225, I reround it.
Okay, don't
No,
say
you-
something wrong.
2248.
You need to bring your calculator.
So then you're at 10,000?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Word?
Here, we good here?
Yep.
Okay,
Good there?
so we don't round.
Alright. Now F. Now we'll see who remembers what's going on here.
All right.
Oh, but I know.
Do we have a sign button? Yes.
Yes.
So that's positive. But this time I have a seconds to put in.
Yep.
Anybody remember?
Yeah.
How do we get seconds?
Alpha and then the plus.
Alpha plus, right, alpha plus. So we're gonna type sine 127 degrees. No, no, we only do 1 divided by if we don't have the button, right? As long as we have the button,
There, which one is that?
we're just gonna type the button. So,
It's
sine
jarring.
127, 18, and then 13. Alpha plus.
I got 0.7954.
Yep, 0.7954, that's exactly right, thank you.
Good, guys. Sorry,
7954.
cooking.
Cooking good.
Cooking with Canada.
Mouth of Canada. Oh, is that on video?
Okay. Alright, you ready to try one by yourselves? I. I is the next degree problem, so we're gonna try I. Go.
No, actually,
Where's your calculator?
no, me and I got my car, but me and Derek, we got
Okay.
it.
Mine in the car doesn't work, dude. You gotta have a calculator, okay?
Come on, man.
Nah, cause I was doing my homework last night.
You know, I did my homework too, but I brought my calculator to school. Bring your calculator.
If we get a negative number, we just do it.
No. Okay, so Leilani has a great question. Leilani typed in.
Got a negative?
Focus here. Leilani typed in 1 divided by tangent 158.19 because cotangent is 1 divided by tangent.
Yep.
So she said, okay, but Mrs. Ford, when I type this in, I got a negative answer. Negative 2.5150. Does that look okay to everybody? It is perfectly okay for the trig functions to be negative. It's okay. It hasn't happened to us yet, but it's perfectly all right. In the next section, we're going to see why that is. Right now, just know it's okay. So no, you don't drop the negative. You keep it. The negative is part of the answer. If the calculator says negative, it's negative. All right. How about the last one?
Negative 1.
J. What do we get for J?
Negative 1.7112 or 113.
That?
Yeah.
Is this what we got for the last one? Jack Kaplan with the program here?
I am with the program.
You are awesome. Okay, so you good with that? All right. Now, we're gonna go back and do the radian problems. In order to do the radian problems, which are the problems that don't have a degree mark, those are radian problems. Go to mode and change your calculator into radians. Then every number you type in now, the calculator's gonna know that's a radian, because you told it. You put it in radian mode. So we're gonna find the cosine of pi over 9. So go to mode. Well, you got degrees highlighted, and we wanna move over, click over and highlight radian. All right, so now we're going to press cosine, and then your pi button. You're literally going to type pi, which is over underneath, right underneath your clear button, see it? So you're gonna type that, so second pi divided by 9. And what did you say, Kim? 0.9397. 0.9397, exactly right, thank you. 0.9397
You said cosine pi.
divided by 9. If your calculator doesn't say 0.9397, double check to make sure you're in radian mode. Okay. I need some help. Cosecant 5 pi over 16. How am I going to type this into my calculator? Ceres.
1 divided by 5 times pi.
Exactly. Ceres knows her stuff. Of course, she's got her orange sheet out too. We all should have it out. Reference. What's cosecant? Ceres says 1 divided by sine. So we are literally going to type 1 divided by sine 5 pi over 16. That's what we're going to type, just like that. So 1 divided by sine 5 second pi divided by 16. Who's willing to share an answer?
1.2027.
1.2027, that's exactly what I got, good job. 1.2027. Who did not get 1.2027? Charles?
Oh, maybe it's told. I didn't do it.
Gotta do one over sign. Gotta do 1 divided by sign.
What we just on D?
She's going every other. So she needs last and that was on D.
So we just did this.
And then we're gonna do G and A.
Okay, you give me B.
Good job.
Nine.
Okay, where are we now?
Why?
We got 2 more to go. G and H,
Did
right?
you switch?
Right now, you and your partner figure out G and H. Tell me what the answers are. And see if you're right or not.
Is that when you switch to the council? Alexa? That's when you switch to the council.
You gotta select the dragons again.
She's not in my favorite building. Y'all are switching classes.
I got a name.
So I got chef, I got heavy shitty now. So I went from Miss Neal's lesson to chicken telly for like 2 or 3 days.
I have never speak.
Now I got heavy chef.
Now you got these typed in. So,
Oh, shield, bro.
you guys got them?
I don't know why you hate it.
Okay, stop. Let's get focused back on our math. Vincent, you got an answer? Got an answer? Which one? Negative 1.2891. How does that sound, everybody? Awesome. Is that good? How did we type this in? 1 divided by cosine? Exactly. All right, let's see. Willow, you got the last one there, cosecant 2?
Nah,
Willow.
1.1.
Where's your, you got your calculator?
I just put it in the chart. My fault, don't.
Maya, what'd you get for that cosecant 2?
I said 1.1.
998? How does that sound? I didn't type it in, I'm relying on you.
Sounds
Cliff,
good.
what do you think?
Yep.
That's right?
Yep.
Now, you guys, what do you, wait, we're moving on now, we're going on to something different. What do you need to remember from this little thing we just did? To type in a cosecant, a cotangent, or a secant, you have to do 1 over,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So if you don't have the button that you need, you gotta do 1 over. Okay, we good?
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at problem 5. Now this is wacky because it's totally backwards of what we did at the very beginning. Thank you. All right.
Miss Ford.
What was that for?
Your autobiography.
Chill, bro.
Maybe they're trying to
Chill, bro.
build a case.
Miss Ford, I advise you to clip that out of your.
What?
When you replayed it, don't hear what Derek just said.
Yeah, that's okay, doesn't matter.
You're cooked. You're cooked.
Alright, this is totally backwards because now I know what my cosine is. So here's my triangle. Remember, that's the triangle we draw. Here's my theta. And I gotta figure out what that angle is. My job is to figure out what is theta. Now, what do I know? I know my cosine is 1/2. Well, what's cosine again? What's the definition of cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this triangle, the adjacent side is 1 and the hypotenuse is 2. Would you agree with that? Now, this is one of your special triangles. if that's a 1 and that's a 2, then what's this?
A 1.
Oh no,
Square root of 3.
square root of 3.
Yep.
If these are both 1s, that is a radical 2.
Yep.
Now, what kind of a triangle, 30, 60, 90, and across from the root 3 is which one? The 60. The 60 is across from the root 3. This is Ford. How do you know that? I memorized it.
Period.
Yep, gotta memorize it. Across from the 60 is, across from the root 3 is 60. That means that my angle is 60 degrees. That's it. That's all we have to do. So now we're going to do sine equals root 3 over 2. Well, what do we know about the sine? I heard somebody say it. Opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is root 3 and hypotenuse is 2. What's this side gonna be?
It says 2 over 2.
Oh, yeah, root 2 over 2? Oh, thank you. All right, well that changes things. Now it's that. This is a tricky problem. Because you're looking at that, and you're looking at your orange sheet, and you're saying, Mrs. Ford, that triangle isn't on there. But it actually is. This is what's tricky. Remember the other day when we did problems and we got like sine theta equals 2 over root 7? And we fixed that by moving the radical up, by rationalizing.
Yep.
But aren't these two things exactly the same? This has been rationalized. This is the same as 1 over root 2. Now let that digest for a second. I won't give you one like this on a test. This is tricky.
45.
You gotta recognize that this is the simplified version of this. So what the triangle really looks like is 1 and root 2. Now that one we recognize. What's this side?
1.
1. And what's that angle?
45.
45. So that's a 45 degree angle. That is a tricky one for sure. All right, let's look at C. Now, I am very old, I do this for a living, I love trigonometry, but I don't think in terms of cosecants. What is cosecant? I can't process a cosecant, I have to think about it as what? 1 divided by sine. So it's the reciprocal of the sine. So if the cosecant is 2 over 1, doesn't that mean the sine is 1/2? And that makes more sense to me because I remember so katoa. So the opposite side is 1 and the hypotenuse is 2.
Yep.
What does that make this side? Square root of 3. And what does that make this angle? Across from the 1, 30. So my answer is 30 degrees. All right, you getting the hang of it? Let's try one more. Tangent. I'm going to write that 1 as 1 over 1. So I have a fraction, because I know tangent is what? Opposite over adjacent. So here's my picture. Opposite over adjacent. This is root 2, and I heard somebody say that's a 45?
Yep.
So my angle is 45 degrees. Tell me what I know about my triangle. If the secant is 2 over root 3, then the cosine must be root 3 over 2, which means the adjacent is root 3 and the hypotenuse is 2. And the opposite's 1. And the angle is 30. So theta is 30 degrees. All right, try that last one on your own. These are a little bit tricky. I have confidence. Give it a shot. Always feel free to put root 3 over 1 to make your number a fraction, if that's easier for you.
Hopefully you gotta bring us up.
It'd be 1 root 3 over 3.
Yeah. Wait. What is that?
Who thinks you have an answer? Cam? Who else? Vinny? Shrek? Ramos got an answer back there.
Let's go, Mom.
What do you think the answer is, Ramos? What? He thinks the answer is 30 degrees. Tell me your thought process, Ramos, because I think you might be right. I can't hear him. Listen.
One goes by angle with the box. 2 on the other side. So the 30 is gonna be closer to the 1 and opposite.
Wow. Now, Lamos, I have one more question for you. You are right on. Perfect. But how did you know to put the 1 here? When you had root 3 over 1, how did you know? Oh, wait. Wait. Is this what you told me to do, Lamos? Okay. What did you tell me to do?
3 is in
What
the
goes
box.
here? Where am I pointing?
3.
Root 3? Okay, that looks better. Okay, so this angle is 30, so the answer is 30 degrees, yeah. Okay, now, how did you know these are the numbers that go here? Because this is cotangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So this has to be adjacent over opposite, because cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent. Yeah, that's perfect. So adjacent, yep, 30 degrees. You are exactly right. Cotangent is 1 over tangent. but that means reciprocal. So it's easier, just flip it over. Just flip it over, it's reciprocal. Tangent is reciprocal of cotangent, just flip it over. All right, now we need our calculators again.
Which more further?
Who else do I need to screen at?
Oh,
Get it out of there, Will. If you can't use it, you're in a dilemma.
It's for Tyler? I was wrong.
You were Rob.
I think so. I'll check her.
They're giving you guys like
My mom drives like all the way out to Greenfield to go to their Walmart. She does. She refuses to go to Walmart. She really refuses to go to Walmart. I really just go to mine.
All right. Here we go. In a couple minutes, we're going to be doing some word problems. And our word problems are going to end up being represented by triangles that look like this. So we're going to read a problem, we're going to draw a triangle, and it's going to look like that. So we need to be able to figure out how, once we have a triangle like this, how to find whatever it is we want to find. In this case, we want to find the hypotenuse. Okay? Very, very easy. Easy. This is your angle. They never use the 90, we always use the other one. All right, so there's my angle. With regard to that angle, which side is this? Opposite. And this is hypotenuse. Now, boys and girls, this side has nothing, so it is not going to be part of the problem. The only sides that are part of the problem are the ones that have labels. So 10 and x, opposite and hypotenuse. Everybody good? What function, sine, cosine, or tangent, which function uses opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. So I am literally going to write the sine of my angle. The angle always gets hooked to the sine, cosine, or tangent. This is where your angle always goes, right? Hooked to the, whichever function you're using. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. Okay? Now, I have a fraction. I'm going to get rid of that fraction. I'm going to multiply the x over to here. And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to divide by the sine of 28. Now, when you're doing these problems, you guys, this is a unit. You're never going to separate those. So you're not going to divide by 28, and you're not going to divide by SIN. You're going to divide by sine 28. It's a unit. It stays together. So then I go to my calculator, and before you type anything, see that right there?
Yeah.
That's a degree. So we got to go to mode
Change it to degree.
and change our calculator back into degrees. Alrighty? Then you can type in 10 divided by sine 28.
We got 21.
21.3005. I don't know how we're supposed to round, so 21.3005. Know what you got? Okay, if you didn't get 21.3005, go back to mode and make sure your calculator's in degrees. Because this is a degree. All right? Bryce, what's happening back there?
I did it.
All right, next. Same kind of picture. You're gonna write an equation. And the equation you write is gonna be a sine, cosine, or tangent. So let's look at it and see if we can figure out what it's gonna be. Did you say something, Kaya?
Cosine?
It is cosine. How does Kaya know it's cosine? Here's your angle. Which side is this? Adjacent. And this is hypotenuse? That's cosine. So cosine 13, remember, the angle goes with the cosine. Cosine 13 equals 4 over x.
Yep.
What are we gonna do?
X.
Times by x
Divided by cosine.
and divide by the whole thing. You're never gonna split this, you guys, ever. Divide by the whole thing. So x equals 4 divided by cosine 13.
4.1052.
Yep. 4.1052, whatever. I don't know how we're supposed to do it. All right, let's look at the next picture. See if you can write an equation for me. Can you write the equation for this picture? See if you can figure out if you need sine, cosine, or tangent.
She said only one that so the degrees of it.
Let's take a vote. How many think this is going to be a sine problem? How many think it's going to be a cosine problem? How many think it's going to be a tangent problem? Whoa, look at that, overwhelming. Here's your angle. With regard to that angle, which side is this? Opposite. Which side is this? Adjacent. And if you're doing opposite over adjacent, that is tangent. So tangent 52 equals opposite over adjacent. Now, we have a denominator, we're going to get rid of it. So we're going to multiply by 5. You can, the problem is you don't have a cotangent button, so you're ultimately going to have to do a tangent anyway, so you might as well just do tangent from the start. 5 tan 52, type it in. 5 tan 52, 6.3997. Kai, you follow along here? Good. Your job is to get x by itself. So as soon as you have x by itself, you're ready to type. All right, let's try D and E by ourselves. D and E, you're going to draw a picture, or no, you're going to write an equation from the picture, and then type it in your calculator.
No.
It's all good.
I'd love to hear your suggestions.
Is there another tangent problem?
I don't know. Alright, let's look at this guy right here. This is question D. The first thing you gotta do is figure out if it's sine, cosine, or tangent. So here's your angle. Which side is this? Adjacent? And this is hypotenuse. What function, sine, cosine, or tangent, is adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So this is gonna be cosine 17 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So hopefully you typed into your calculator 10 cosine 17. And did you get 9.563?
No.
I think you're okay, most of you typing it in, but getting that equation is so important. Do you understand why that's a cosine problem?
Yes.
All right, let's look at this one. Here's your angle this time. Pay attention. Your angle's there. Which means this side is what? That's adjacent. This is hypotenuse. So, oh my gosh, we're gonna do cosine again.
My goodness.
So cosine 63 equals 5 over x. What do I do here, Connor? I'm solving that equation. What do I need to do?
You need to take a 5 hour.
No, not gonna do anything with the 5. What am I gonna do something with first? I'm gonna get that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So x cosine 63 equals 5. I move that x over here to this side. And then divide by all of that. So x equals 5 divided by cosine 63. And did you get 11.0134?
Yeah.
This is easy.
I just heard somebody say this is easy. I love it. You're right. It is easy.
Why are we lying? You said that?
But he kept, but.
All right, let's look at our word problems. More the same. The only difference is you have to draw your own picture. So here we go. A squirrel is sitting in the top of a tree. It's 52 feet tall.
That's what make it easy.
So here's the squirrel on the tree, 52 feet tall. So here's the tree. There's the squirrel. So far, so good. He's looking at a nut on the ground. So here's a squirrel.
Hey, yeah.
He's looking at a nut on the ground. Right out here's the nut. He's looking down at the nut. His angle of depression is 23 degrees. Now, an angle of depression, I want you to be really careful with this. An angle of depression is not, you don't see it in that picture, because the angle of depression is this. If I am the squirrel looking straight ahead, and then I look down at the nut, that is your angle of depression. Okay? Now, listen to this. This is cool. Because of when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, alternate interior angles are equal, this is where you're going to put your angle of depression. right here, because that's really the angle, but it's exactly the same as this because of alternate interior angles. So we're not gonna mess outside the triangle, we're gonna put it right here. So that's 23 degrees. Ears on. Every angle of elevation or depression is gonna go right there. Every time, your angle is gonna go right there. One more time. Every angle of elevation or depression is gonna go right there. You're not gonna put it anywhere else, you're gonna put it right there. Now what do I wanna know? Find the distance from the nut to the base of the tree. Would you agree that's X?
Yes.
What is this? This is the distance from the nut to the squirrel. That could be a question. It's not this time. We want the nut to the base of the tree. There's your picture. So now we're gonna write an equation. So look at it. There's your angle. What side's this? Opposite. What side's this? All right. What function am I gonna use? Tangent. So tangent 23 equals opposite over adjacent. Remember, as soon as you write tangent, you're going to hook an angle to it. 52 is the angle. Or, I mean, excuse me, 23 is the angle. All right, how do I solve this? Get x on the other side. And then divide by tan 23. This is a word problem, so we're going to put a unit on that. Did you get 122.50 feet?
Yep.
All right, one more and we'll be done for the day. Letter B. This time we got a seagull on top of a lighthouse. So here's the seagull on top of the lighthouse, and he's looking at a fish. The gull is 87 feet above sea level. And the gull is 230 feet from the fish. This is 230. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
The gull is 230 feet from the fish. We want to find the angle. I'll call it X. We want to find the angle. Sine, cosine, or tangent. This is opposite.
Yep. Sine.
This is hypotenuse. Sine angle. Remember, the angle goes with the sine. So sine angle equals 87 over 230.
Yep.
Oh, whoa, whoa, we've never done anything like that before. That looks different. That looks different. Here's what you do. When you don't know the angle, I don't know the angle, so I have to go backwards and use the inverse button. You find that button on your calculator, do you see it? It's right above the sign. So you're gonna press second sign, 87 divided by 230.
Yep.
22.23 degrees. We will talk more about that, but for now, please try to remember, if you don't know the angle, you do second sine, or second cosine, or second cosine. That's how you find an angle. If you have my calculator, please bring it back. And I will see you tomorrow for more fun and excitement. We will finish 4-2 tomorrow, so that homework Okay, you guys owe me 50 cents. Bring your own calculator. Is this the one you had? Did it turn on before? I thought I turned it on when I handed it to you. Didn't turn on? All right, well then I'm not gonna charge you for it. That's $0. Did you do a homework assignment? Oh, no.
No, I was just
I was getting ready to get shot.